Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Day 3 Breakfast with Bob, 70.3 World Championships, beautiful Taupo. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA, Fly Human Fly, Master Spas, SFuels, Right Fuel, Right Time, Deboer Wetsuits, Quintana, and of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. We've now raised $180 million in our first 31 years. Our next guest, Mr. Josh Amberger, joins us. Josh, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Bob. I'm great, mate. How are you?
I'm wonderful. We haven't chatted in a while. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I probably because I missed Kona this year. I unfortunately didn't qualify for that one. So
what?
Yeah, it's probably been 2 years since the last time I saw you in Kona 22.
That's right. Now, did you travel with Ash when she went to like Alcatraz or any of those other places?
I didn't go to Alcatraz. I did Ironman Cairns the following week back in Australia, so I wasn't able to make that. But I was with her for most of the T100s this year.
Yeah, well, yeah, you were, 16th in Ibiza and Vegas, 14th at Lake Las Vegas. Did you like it? It's a little shorter than a 70.3. Did you like that racing?
Yeah, I really enjoyed being part of the T100s this year. I was able to get 3 wild cards, which I was pretty stoked with.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get a contract at the start of the year, narrowly missed out. So, it was kind of tough to step into those races having wild cards. I only got them like 1 week out. In the case of Singapore, I got it 3 or 4 days out from the race. So It was like, get on the plane and see what you got when you get there. So
but you seemed you got 10th, and people look at any race and they go, 5th, 6th, 7th. It's like, hey, these are world championship races. There's nobody in that field who wasn't a former Olympian, 70.3 champion, Ironman champion.
Yeah, definitely, Bob. And I think that's the difference racing today as opposed to sort of 10 years ago when I was a bit younger. Is literally every race you step into is either world championship quality or very close to. And, back in the day, it was like a single day world champs and you could kind of, cherry pick your way around the year, avoid some battles here and there. But, it was always just the one big day a year in September or October with those world championship fields. But now we're pretty much seeing that throughout the year.
Every week you're racing. That's the thing that hit me too. Is it used to be, it was almost like you'd go to the triathlons and it was almost like going to a golf course. It was like one pro per. Who's a club pro? You had like 1, 2, 3 pros who potentially could win. There'd always be a fair number of pros, but there was only a few who could win. So you sort of knew, I'm going to come away, unless something weird happens, I'm going to come away with a paycheck of some sort. Yeah,
definitely. But that's the growth of the sport, and that's what we want to see. And as fans of the sport, that's what we want to see. Like just amazing competition every weekend, and that's what we're getting. And as a pro, trying to adapt to that and always try and keep up with the field is getting increasingly difficult. But that's professional sport, and that's the challenge. So
and to be honest, what PTO has done by bringing, a lot of pros would not still be pros if it wasn't for when COVID came along with PTO stepping up and paying people and keeping people in the sport. So 1, I think they saved a lot of careers, and 2, I think with the investment in the pros, that has forced other groups to invest in the pros as well, because they realize that these are our stars and we got to make sure that we get them to the races.
Yeah, that's right, Bob. And, we're here. It's the last race of the Ironman Pro Series too. So, like, the first year of the Pro Series, I would have killed to have a Pro Series 10 years ago, Bob. It's finally here, and it's great that it's happening. But, I think credit to the T100 and the PTO for stepping up and providing that level and Ironman responding. It's been amazing. And, there's just so much opportunity now as a professional. And I think that's why we're seeing deeper and deeper fields, and those middle level athletes finally have some ability to earn. And I mean, everyone works hard. It's just now you can actually get from race to race in the blue or in the black. Yes. And that's the growth of the sport.
I mean, it used to be that people came off of the Olympics or that Olympic format, and then they'd have the non-draft Olympic distance in the U.S. We had, New York, Chicago, L.A., and it was good money from Lifetime. And then that goes away, and the pros are put in a position of, okay, I'm coming off of being an Olympic guy. I got to go do an Ironman, because 70.3 at that point wasn't really there. Yeah. And then that's a huge jump.
Yeah, that's right. And like when I was young and started in the US, I was doing I never did the Lifetime series, but I was at St. Anthony's, and
Yes.
the 50-on-50 series, Des Moines High V,
Yes.
was really taking off.
So fun.
So, like, I did experience the tail end of those Olympic distance
Yes.
races. And there was like always a really rich history of Australians in those events.
Oh my God, Greg Bennett won a fortune in those races.
Yeah, and
Welchie back in the
yeah,
USGS days.
Craig Walton and
Yep.
you know, Craig Alexander won his first big races in Minneapolis.
It changed everything for him, because then all of a sudden he could travel with his family. Right?
Yeah.
He wins $250,000 in one day, and it's like, wait a second, now I can travel with my family, and just made life easier.
Yeah, that's right. And like I took the early blueprint for my career was really from those guys. And
Yes.
I'm probably one of the only athletes left in the field now who had experienced that Olympic distance non-draft racing in the US back in the day. I would love for it to still be there and to still dabble. I know Ashley would. She would
really love that too. Oh,
yeah, definitely. I mean, she really envied me and early in my career being able to do those races.
Yeah.
And I guess now it's just a great memory to look back on.
I know. I always look at those races as so important, because a lot of people in this day and age come in terms of like age groupers. They come in and all they hear is Ironman. So they want to do an Ironman or a 70.3, and they hire a coach, they spend 6 months, they do an Ironman or a 70.3, get their tattoo, and then they move on to something else. So the welcome mat events like Chicago and New York and even in Alcatraz, the distances are something that are doable for everybody. That's to grow the sport, you need those welcome mat events.
Yeah, that's correct. I think, events like St. Anthony's are still
Yes.
going to their
Phenomenal.
credit. I did that 4 times when I was young. Would love to get back there. But yeah, like there's probably definitely something that is missing in the sport. A lot of those events that are big and recognized that have unfortunately gone away.
Yeah. Well, I think we have Chicago. Chicago's still there. New York's coming back this next year.
Yep.
They're owned by Super League, so hopefully. And then from a television perspective, we've got the Super League, which does a great job with their television coverage. PTO does a great job with theirs. So there's more awareness, I think, for the age group athletes. So, but I mean, when you were at the T100s, what's been great is they've added the age group side of it, like to Singapore and Lake Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's important, that it's not just like the old ITU series where you're just traveling with 30 other pros and racing and never seeing any age groupers.
Yeah, that's right. I was my last race I did actually was 200 Lake Las Vegas.
Yes.
And I heard before the race they were a bit sluggish on the age group entrance for that race, but I found myself after the race at the finish line for the age groupers handing out medals with some of the pros, and it was actually like an awesome vibe, and there seemed to be plenty of athletes kicking around the course that I saw, and that's a tough course. That's not a course you go to expect a fast time.
No.
So it was great to see a lot of athletes throw their hat in the ring for a tough course. You know, it's and that's almost like what we're missing now as well, is those really, like the St. Croix back in the day.
Yes.
That's gone, unfortunately, but that was an insane course where you didn't.
The beast.
You definitely didn't go to St. Croix for a fast time.
No, you're not looking for PRs.
But yeah, like the participation from the age group level for the 200 to me, like, has looked really strong. In Singapore, it was insane. London, it was insane.
I was going to say, right? Big crowds in both those. Right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
the reality is we can talk about, at the beginning, PTO said, hey, we're going to be golf and tennis, right? We're going to get TV money, and we're going to, besides the TV money, we're going to get, selling for spectators, and then we'll get, the sport will grow. And I'm like, guys have been doing this since 1980. We're never getting television money. Ironman's never paid television money, but what you guys can do is similar to what they're doing now with Singapore and Vegas, is they pay you to come. Right, they pay you to come because you're going to fill up hotel rooms, and then age groupers fill up the hotel rooms, and everybody wins. So that to me is a model that works.
I think they were even selling house and land packages in Lake Las Vegas after the race. So that was part of the pitch from the city of Henderson to get the race there, is they wanted people to come and then stay.
And live there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really nice area.
It's a great area.
Very nice.
Yeah, Lake Mead is right there, yeah.
We did 70.3 Worlds. I raced that twice in 2012 and 2013. There was nothing out there.
Nothing. I remember that.
And now it's like a whole community. So
yeah,
it was pretty cool to go back and see how it's changed.
Well, and you were in 2012 when you got 7th at the Worlds.
Yeah.
And like Las Vegas, that was pretty cool. And then you did it in 13, 16, 19, and now you're back.
Yeah, I haven't had that sort of repeat performance since then, but that's definitely what I'm still looking for, Bob, and that's why I'm here. I feel like I'm in reasonable shape for the time of year.
Yeah.
I've sort of had a lot of mid-level finishes this year. 6 Ironman Langkawi, 8th Ironman South Africa. I haven't really hit those podium spots that I was known for back in the day, but I'm still hungry, Bob.
Well, and you've done, when I was looking at this, I'm counting up the 2014, 2 wins in 16, 3 in 17, 1 18, 20, and 23. Just you got 10 big wins in your career, not including St. Anthony's and some of the shorter distance, but in terms of those half and that type of distance and fulls, you've got some wins.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like we were saying at the start of the episode, it's just getting harder, mate. Like to actually step up and find that 1 or 2% each year. I'm 35 now, so I'm not one of the youngins.
What?
Yeah.
I feel like we were chatting when you were a little kid.
Yeah. But like I've got Ashley, my wife, she's doing insane, and like she's inspiring me every day to keep chipping away, keep finding a new level. And
I remember when we were in, now she obviously had won Alcatraz a couple times, but we were at Clash Miami, where she won that race, and that was this 100K distance, and I think at that point she was might have been her first that longer distance.
Yeah, that was her first year. She pivoted from short distance to middle.
She was like, no more Olympics. I'm going for this, and she wins that race, and then next thing you know, she's dominating the world and winning every race. And you're training with her on a regular basis. Did you have a sense of that? If you moved to the longer distance, had you ever had those discussions? You know what, the Olympics are, that's a great goal, but I think this longer distance would be better for you because you have that type of engine. Yeah,
definitely. Like plenty of us had sort of an idea of what her potential would be like in this distance, in the middle distance, and I was encouraging her to. After Rio Olympics in 2016, I actually had Sebastian Kienler staying at my house before the 70.3 Worlds on the Sunshine Coast, and Ash came back from Rio. She didn't have a great experience, and we were both kind of there prepping for 70.3 Worlds, and we were just like, hey, like, come watch the race in Mooloolaba, and you might get a thing for it. And momentarily she did, but then it was like, no, I've got unfinished business in the Olympics, and
I get it.
Yeah, you understand, and so we supported her for 4 years ended up being 5 years through to Tokyo.
Right.
She had another bitter experience there, like as an athlete with all the regulations around COVID was pretty severe.
Yeah.
And it didn't take much convincing after that to come across and try this. So and look what she's done in a very short time. It's amazing. So
it's been really fun to watch.
She doesn't have any regrets, but like she threw everything at it. I think as an athlete, if you don't try something, if you want to do something, you don't give it a go, then that's where the regrets happen.
We've seen that with, Daniela Reef had gone to 2 Olympic Games, and she hired her coach, Brett Sutton, to go to a 3rd Olympic Games, and he was the one who convinced her, you're a diesel. You should try something else. Next thing you know, she builds the most dominant career of all time with 5 Ironman World Championships and 5 70.3 World Championships. So you never know. And Ashley just seems happier than she was when she was racing. When you're racing the Olympic stuff, you got to deal with governing bodies. There's like, you can only have a 2-inch thing for a sponsor. It's like there's so many roadblocks. Yeah, keep it from fun.
That's right, Bob. Like, Ashley's the kind of athlete, she doesn't like to be told what to do. Like she marches to the beat of her own drum, and you can kind of give her some ideas and advice along the way, and she'll work it out. And that's definitely what she's doing right now, and that's I think the biggest part of the recipe for her to be happy in what she's doing. And she has the ability to do that in middle distance, whereas with so much sort of bureaucracy in the short distance with Olympic Games and so forth, it just wasn't the right conditions for her as she matured into an adult. And yeah, I mean, yeah, she's loving it. She's next on the show.
She's next on the show. We'll chat with her about that.
Yeah,
I'd love that. When I look back at where you're just going back that you were swimming competitively, age of 6, first try, you're 9 years old, now you're 35. Would you have ever imagined that all these years later, this would still be your lifestyle?
Absolutely not. When I was a kid, I was like a bit of a punk, like
nah.
A lot of people sort of saw me as, going down the athlete lifestyle, and I just didn't want to really agree with them. I was kind of like, nah, like I had a lot of talent, and
right.
As a swimmer, you actually see a lot of really young, growing up as a swimmer, especially in Australia, you see a lot of young talent and they do nothing with it.
Right.
And not like I wanted to be that person, but it was almost a normal thing to do in a sense, growing up through swim clubs. Like a lot of people just didn't see it through. But when I finished school, I just loved sports. I started university and, actually I just ended up preferring sports. So that's the path I went. And I'm 35 now. My training age is very old. I've been doing this for a long time, but I still love it.
Well, and also you've stayed pretty healthy throughout this. I think there was a year where you had some major injuries, but besides that, the mix of the swim, bike, and run has kept you pretty healthy.
Yeah, I think I'm fortunate. My body's pretty robust. I had one Kona where I DNF'd in 2018. I had ITB syndrome, which kept me from running for the second half of that year. But apart from that, my body's held up, and it still responds to all the work that I throw at it. And I'm fortunate to have a robust body and engine.
Do you see next year, is that Nice course, is that a good course for you? Yeah,
definitely. I actually wasn't able to go to Nice last year. I qualified, but we had my brother-in-law got married.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I missed Nice, and I would love to get there. We were actually the morning of the wedding. We were watching the broadcast. And
I mean, as a cyclist, I mean, obviously people think of you as a swimmer, but you're also a great cyclist, and those downhills, I'm sure, are something that you would love.
Yeah, 100%. And we spend the summer months in Europe training in Andorra with Cam Worth.
Yeah.
And I mean,
who's pretty dull to train with. I'm sure there's just, the guy's pretty.
They call him Cam FM. It's like a radio station.
Cam FM.
Yeah, you don't really have to.
You just
talk
have to say
back.
Hi, and that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much. So
I love that.
I mean, we've got a real penchant for the climbs and descents, and after training in Andorra, and Nice would definitely be on my radar for next year.
I would love it. Yeah. Josh, it's always a treat to catch up with you. I love that you've been in this since you were a little kid. You're still in it, and you still love it, and it comes across in everything you do, man.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
I love it.
We love what you do too.
So where are you guys going to go on your trip this year? You and Ash always go into the outback, right? Yeah.
So I actually have a lot of family in New Zealand. Both my parents are Kiwis, but we're from the South Island.
Yeah.
I was born in Australia. We're taking a flight to Queenstown on Monday, and we're going to go hang out with our family. My uncle's built a place on the Waitaki River.
Sweet.
So it's about a 2-hour drive from Queenstown.
Perfect is that?
We'll spend. We can't spend Christmas there. It's Ashley's turn for family Christmas in Australia, so we'll fly back from Queenstown back to Australia for
Good
Christmas.
Good for you, man. Thanks so much for taking time, Josh. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Bob. Cheers, mate.
Josh Amberger has been our guest again, everybody. My name is Bob Babbitt, 70.3 World Championships in beautiful Taupo. Hold on. We will be right back.